The New York Times reported yesterday that you and other top officials wanted to recommend social and physical distancing guidelines to President Trump as far back as the third week of February. But the administration didn't announce such guidelines to the American public until March 16th, almost a month later. Why?
You know, Jake, as I've said many times, we look at it from a pure health standpoint. We make a recommendation. Often the recommendation is taken. Sometimes it's not. But it is what it is. We are where we are right now.
Do you think lives could have been saved if social distancing, physical distancing, stay-at-home measures had started third week of February instead of mid-March?
You know, Jake, again, it's the what would have, what could have. It's very difficult to go back and say that. I mean, obviously, you could logically say that if you had a process that was ongoing and you started mitigation earlier, you could have saved lives. Obviously, no one is going to deny that. But what goes into those kinds of decisions is complicated. But you're right. I mean, obviously, if we had, right from the very beginning, shut everything down, it may have been a little bit different. But there was a lot of pushback about shutting things down back then.
Notice the thread here, the way that this is teed up by fake Tapper himself. In many ways, a master of fake news and among the biggest frauds in the entire business. At least some of the other libs out there admit that they're huge libs and they're pushing an agenda. He still pretends that he's just a journalist, man. So he establishes that the president did not move as soon as some of his advisors thought maybe he should move. And then just asking a neutral question here, you know, could that have meant that lives were lost? And I'm just waiting. When do we just start hearing people say, well, you know, is there blood on Trump's hands? Just ask the epidemiologist this. Here's another way to go. And you see, this is constructing a narrative, because what's not asked in that question is, would there have been outrage if Trump had wanted to institute measures before the public was as aware of what the threat was from this? But we have been told that Trump was a tyrant, that Trump was a dictator. Oh, my gosh, he's seizing power. He's shutting things down. He's not going to allow there to be an election. Crazy stuff like that. Does anyone really want to pretend that would not have been the claim made if Trump had said, shut it down, shut it all down in February? Saying that it took him a month to do it. Let's understand that, you know, they really needed to shut it down. And this is where we get to we'll get to this conversation about how long the disease was in this country. They really needed to shut it down in January, right? They needed to shut it down right away, which nobody was doing. And in fact, the public health authorities that we rely on to keep us safe from exactly this. This is their, you know that phrase, you know, you had one job. CDC, NIH, Fauci and company, various city health authorities. You know, Garcetti out in Los Angeles, who's now Mr. Snitch on your neighbor, will get, you know, for getting some sunshine and will give you a reward. Garcetti, just like de Blasio here in New York, had public health authorities out there telling everybody, you know, what you're doing is great. Get out there. Go to the Wuhan Strong Festival in Chinatown here in New York. Go do that. Garcetti's people were saying the same thing. Go out there. It's fine. Chinese Lunar New Year, no problem. And they believe that Los Angeles' outbreak of this, which has been smaller so far, but the West Coast's outbreak of this was directly from China. So people are just getting off a plane from China. We keep getting told now that ours came from Italy. All that means is that Chinese visitors to Italy infected Italians and other Europeans, and then they came here to this country, or our people visiting Italy got it there. That's all that means. But, oh no, maybe we should call it, you know, the Milan virus or something. I've heard some stupidity like that over the weekend. Completely absurd, but that's where we are, unfortunately. A lot of very stupid commentary around this.
Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.